See, alright, so first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem HaKadosh. We say the blessed apostle and elders agreements on the rule, teachers or apostles in the truth, and we say salutations so that I can push you with on truth and sincerity, day in and day out, and constantly in season or season, say shalom. And once again, going into a video here, and it's basically touching upon this post, this question that was asked. Now, I said before, in previous videos that, one a page that is usually get news and things from, it on the algorithm, it picked up conversations or debates that Christians and Catholics would be having, and they would be going at it on a daily basis on different sections of their beliefs and so forth, like for example, or different doctrines like the Mary, the Immaculate Conception, or the Immaculate Deception, right? Because we know what the truth is when it comes to that, right? The as I said, Mary, right? They would have conversations about things like when it comes to like the woman in the churches and so forth, and the MOTB and many other stuff. And I said, like when certain conversation arise, I would do a video on it, right? Now this is one that I saw where this page asked Psalm warfare, should women wear head coverings, right? Question mark. Now just like majority of the other conversations that they would be having, when you run through the comments, usually you see no one posting scriptures. You just hear them talking, right? You just hear them talking, right? As you can see, we're going down and we have yet to see a scripture being posted, right? But you see people talking. Now this, watch how far, watch how far we had us to go down to see a scripture. And this person, Mark David Johnson, no, why not? If anyone wants to be contentious about this, we have no such practice, nor do the churches of God. And this person off, right? Right? This person off. What he should say is, no, a woman is supposed to wear head coverings, and we know when they go to the scripture, we know what is being said, and we will go to that. So let's go on again, right? Now, watch how long you had us to take until you saw someone bring up the scripture, the 1 Corinthians chapter 11, right? And we know why Christians wouldn't want to go to this chapter, because one of the things that they teach is that the woman's supposed to be above the man, right? And this chapter cuts all of that. Now let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 16 verse 28. Sorry, the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 2 verse 15. It said, they that fear the Lord will not disobey his word, right? They that fear the Lord will not disobey his word. And just like these people who say no and so forth, they are what? They are disobeying the Lord's word, right? So it goes to show that they don't want to fear. But who they would have fear for is the pastor, That is who they would have fear for. They would have fear for the pastor, for the bishop, for whoever it may be. They would show more fear for that person than the Lord, right? So it says, they that fear the Lord will not disobey his word, and they that love him will keep his ways. And if it's saying they love the Lord, it's supposed to be able to keep his ways, right? Matter of fact, it should. It said, and they that love him will keep his ways. You're saying you love him, saying you love the Lord, but then you're not keeping his ways. Then you're finding a problem with the things that he said, right? You're finding a problem with everything that the Lord said that we should do or keep, right? That goes to show that you don't love him, right? So that goes to what? To 1 Corinthians. Sorry, not 1 Corinthians. 1 John chapter 5 verse 3, right? It says, for this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. But we know according to when they listen to these Christians talk, they honor the Lord with the lips, you understand? But their heart far from him, right? Because they really and truly, they don't love the Lord, right? They don't love the Lord, right? Because they continue to break his commandments on a daily basis. They continue to disobey his word, right? And many other things to do, right? All these abominable doctrines that they be teaching on a daily basis, and so forth and so on. So the fact where, like, as I said before, like when you watch some of their debates or like the conversations they be having, right? They don't ever go to scriptures. They always go to theology. They always go to like it's about the word, it's about a particular word that they was doing, the acolyte stuff and all these things that, there are certain words that that is used, right? But as the scripture said, for this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. Yes, the Lord commandments are not grievous, right? No. So if you love him, right? If you say, as the book of Ecclesiastes stated, they that fear the Lord will not disobey his word, right? And we know it's supposed to be fear in the Lord, right? They say the fear of the Lord is the beginning of our wisdom, right? Matter of fact, I'm gonna go to that. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 1, verse 7, right? It said the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. And that is the thing. It said the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, right? It said, but fools despise wisdom and instruction, and that is where you get from these Christians. They're fools because they despise wisdom and instruction, right? The things that was given unto us to keep. And the Lord make it clear about women and coverings on the head, right? But then you have people, these Christians, right, who in Christianity, these Catholics as well. As I said, they is what went on is that the page pick up these two denominations having the conversations, right? And hey, as I said before, all the stuff that they talk about, they're off with, right? So just like this comment here, this lady posted, Melanie Mack, right? Melanie Mack. Let's just go to the page and see something. It says gamer carnivore Jesus Rick. Yo. It say if she wants to, but not necessary, a married woman's husband is a covering. So it's you see, this is like the first line is like if she wants to, feminism. No, it's written that is what they should do, right? Not if she wants to. And that is why we're supposed to be what? Obeying the Lord's word and not yours, right? So let's go now to 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 5, right? Let's start from verse 4. It says, every man praying or prophesying having his head covered dishonoreth his head. So we would, as a man, you wouldn't be prophesying, praying with your head covered, right? You would not. You wouldn't wear a hat. You wouldn't put no big cloth around your head. And when I say covering your whole head, I should say, right? You wouldn't do that. Because as I said, every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonoreth his head, right? It says verse 5, it says, but every woman that prayed or prophesied with her head uncovered, dishonoreth her head. For that is even all one as if she was shaven, right? And we know the scriptures talk about a woman when she shaved her head, right? So as reading back over verse 5, you see, but every woman that prayed or prophesied with her head uncovered, dishonoreth her head. So going back to the question that was asked was what? Should women wear head coverings? Yes, it is written that they should, right? As I say, but every woman that prayed or prophesied with her head uncovered, dishonoreth her head. Dishonoreth her head. So a man, because you see again, what Christianity, even these Catholics want people to believe is that a woman would be on a man level. So if the Lord said a woman, if the Lord said a man not supposed to pray with his head covered, they find that the woman should be the same, right? Right? They find that we don't need a covering for our head, right? They're also teaching the churches that the man and the woman are what equal. When earlier in this verse, right? This chapter, it literally tells you the ordinances to keep the ordinances, but they continue to do what? They continue to disobey the words of the Lord, right? They continue to do that on a daily basis, right? On a daily basis, they continue to do that, right? Watch how much of them here, right? Some people are saying yes, right? And some people are saying this person mark, let's try to get them to cover their bodies first before we talk about head coverings. And that is the next thing by itself. These women is be outside there naked, right? So they not even, if they can't cover their body, they're not even going to cover their head, right? Right? Yes. And we also went up a little earlier, right? With the guy that said no, with so many people like this person, they are free to and they are free not to. That's wrong. That's a totally wrong statement, and that's literally what I've been saying earlier, that when you watch some of the conversations they be having on a daily basis, it's just things out of their own mind. It's never according to the scriptures. It's things that the pastor might tell them, the bishop might tell them, and they run with, right? They say no points are worth either. The trouble comes when people start thinking they are just a little more pious than those who don't. So it goes to show that, and they would say certain things to make you feel like, they would try to convict the other Christians, they would bring up things like, don't judge and all these things. But no, we're supposed to obey the words of the Lord. And as it's said here, but every woman that prayed or prophesied with her head uncovered dishonoreth her head. Dishonoreth her head. For that is even all one as if she was shaven. For if the woman be not covered, let her also be shorn. But if it be a shame for a woman to be shorn or shaven, let her be covered. Right? For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image and glory of God, but the woman is the glory of the man. And they wouldn't like that. That's why I said earlier that this chapter, there's one to bypass these chapters, right? So the woman is the glory of the man, and you would want your woman, you would want your wife to be covered up, not so, right? Right? But as the verse 5 said, but every woman that prayed or prophesied with her head uncovered dishonored her head. So that answers the question: should women wear head coverings? Yes. Right? Yes. Right? Praying and prophesied? Yes. Not like this guy that said they are free to and they are free not to. Right? That's not there in the scripture. Right? That's not there in the scripture. Yeah, they're free to or free not. No, it's written that they should, right? And then I said before, right, that this would lead into another video I have to do, right? How out of order these churches, these Christian churches, these other denominations are. Very, very out of order when it comes to things. Right, so with that, once again, I give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yoshai, Ba'ashem Kakodash. We said about some personal elders agreements and a rule where teachers are personal truth and salutations for the account of push on truth and sincerity, day in and day out, and constantly in season we say, Shalom.